me, like if I had a toilet right here and I would just like, like get up and then just go my toilet and poop, I would have to do it because I'm pooping while I'm talking to you, but I don't have that, right? So, no, I don't. I know, like it's crazy. So what I do is that I know if I go to poop, like I have to go upstairs. My kids are gonna see me. My wife is gonna see me. The nanny is gonna see me, and then they all have pronouns that they throw at me, and then I have to, deal with them. So I know it's gonna take time. So I know, like when I go poop, it's not just pooping; it's everything that comes in with pooping. Everywhere, man. It's crazy. Like I feel like I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but like like what makes an artist, I'm guessing, like one of the main things that makes an artist is his life experiences, right?
I think so, in my opinion. Well, I think training and life experiences, but
Good. All right. So at least in that one part, we agree. So, but I feel like they're essential. But those are things that you cannot control, that they just happen to you and you deal with them. And after everything's all said and done, that's when you say, okay, what can I get from this? But what I've been realizing lately is that it's too much experience. I'm overloaded, and so many things happen to me. Whenever I sit down, like okay, let's work on something creative, whether it's the other project or the other project, but I can't, man. I'm so tired. I'm so tired that I was like, oh no, I need a break. I need a break from life, and I need a break from work that relies on life to be able to function.
the Japanese used to say that if you do things 1 minute a day, that minute will turn into other minutes. So maybe instead of trying to aim for doing like a big block of time or a lot of time, just do like 10 or 20, whatever you can, and just like focus those 10 or 20, whatever you have into like, and then little by little, 10 of those minutes a week could turn into an hour. You know what I'm saying?
But
I mean,
that's
10
what I
of those
do.
minutes every day throughout the week, it'll turn into an hour. So like, it's funny. I had a similar question around that area. Um, do you have a recipe for like discipline, or do you kind of just whenever you have the time, you work on something?
I mean, I don't know. I have an idea. Like sometimes I want to think I do. I have a to-do list. Does that count like a
It
recipe?
looks like you do. It looks like you do because you do a lot of. I'm not gonna lie.
I don't have a problem with doing a lot of. My problem is when. Okay, so I'm doing 1 to 5, right? Let's just put it this way. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and so I'm doing 5 a day. Okay, figuratively and physically speaking, because I a lot. Like, I told my wife was like, it's like, bro, why are you going to bath? Like, she already knows me. She's like, it's like, are you anxious? I'm like, why you say that? It's like, every time you get anxious, you poop a lot, and this is the third time you poop. I was like, I am anxious.
So you have 5 poops. You have 5 poops that you're
I'm
doing.
up to 4 today in the morning, and I mean today, and it's 4:21, so it's probably gonna pop one out like after this is done.
I feel you because I mean it's similar on my end, right? Sometimes I feel like I can't get any work done at all. Like sometimes I can't decipher overwhelmed uh from laziness or procrastination, right? Like sometimes I can't decipher those two because there's so much going on that I don't have like a very good barometer or a good meter of like how much work am I actually getting done in comparison to like am I just resting? You know what I'm saying? Because like you don't want to get diminishing returns either, you know. Um, but it's tough, man. It's tough to compartmentalize. But then again, I think that's a trick. Like in my
Yeah,
head, I think it's a trick that I tell myself to not accomplish something either, because you can get caught up in that wheel too. I think at the end of the day, you're always going to have poop going on. Like you're never gonna get rid of poop. Never.
Yeah.
Like never. I don't think I even think like I think back like sometimes like, oh man, if I didn't have this kid or whatever, whatever. But like I think that's BS because at the end of the day, like if I wanted to be doing like what I say that I'm like if I wanted to be writing, whatever, let's say in the moment I'm putting the baby to sleep or something, I'm like, man, I could be writing right now. No, if I could be writing right now, I would be writing right now. I would have been writing. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
I think we sometimes get like, you know how like babies have like toys and then another kid comes by and picks up the toy and they're playing with it and now like they want that toy. You know, I think sometimes with our attention, like with what we lay out to work on, sometimes like when something else comes and gets that attention or that piece of time, we want to dedicate it to something else. You know what I'm saying? Like for
Yeah.
example, sometimes whenever I'm like dealing with the kids, like I'd much rather be working on something creative, but I would have been already I would have been working on something creative. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
It's tough to decipher. Like I don't know, do you have that struggle or like do you like or do you have like a little recipe to how to deal with that?
Yeah. I mean, I do, but sometimes, like how we call it, like ingredients get mixed, you know?
But what
So
is it? Like what is that recipe?
I plan, I do a lot of planning. My day is based on planning what is happening on the day and what's happening the next day. Funny enough, what you mentioned in the beginning about the minutes, I do that. Like, for example, like I take my time to train while I'm training, or while in the process when I'm in the gym. Because all right, so in the morning, for example, like I'll give you a good example. I train my family, then I train my wife and the coworkers, or if I have a client, and then I train myself. Like I myself, I train, right. So during that span of an hour, I usually get work done in the coffee shop because it's right there next to the gym. I also do. I'm studying a language right now. I'm using Duolingo. Yeah, I sold out, but it's actually quite good. So I'm studying a language. So I take my time to study the language during there, and during those span of an hour. And in the end, it finalizes that part of the day, me training and get it out of there and just going to the next part of the day. All right, and that's usually my setup, right? Like I try to squeeze in whatever is closest to each other geographically, and then I'll do as much work as possible. And then I move to the next area, and I don't get out of that area until I get that work done there. And that's how I plan. That's my recipe. I just do a lot of planning and I follow that planning. So I do have a to-do list, and my to-do list, it changes every day constantly. But bro, no lie, sometimes I even put like, yo, I gotta poop. I literally put like, oh, go poop first, because I know me, like if I had a toilet right here and I would just like, like get up and then just go my toilet and poop, I would have to do it because I'm pooping while I'm talking to you, but I don't have that, right? So no, I don't. I know, like it's crazy. So what I do is that I know if I go to poop, like I have to go upstairs. My kids are gonna see me. My wife is gonna see me. The nanny is gonna see me, and then they all have pronouns that they throw at me, and then I have to, deal with them. So I know it's gonna take time. So I know, like when I go poop, it's not just pooping; it's everything that comes in with pooping. You know? You get it?
No, I feel you, bro. I feel it. Like I'm laughing because it's like I like because I look at you like sometimes and I be seeing everything that you're doing. And I'm like, dang, I don't feel like I'm doing enough, right? But it's so funny that it's so similar. Like the problems are so similar. It's
Yeah.
like if my bathroom was a lot further, I would probably have to equate. Like I have to. It's so true that it's like every action I need to add 20 minutes on top of it because I have to account for like somebody throwing something at me that
Yeah.
needs to
Yeah.
resolve.
That's
You
life.
know?
Yeah.
But
So
is that a I wonder like do you ever feel like because you have so much of that stuff going on and you're not getting to the art, do you feel like is it that like how do you internalize it? Do you feel like, oh, I'm procrastinating or I'm being lazy, or you're just like I'll get to it when I get to it. Like how do you like how does your brain um like make sense of it?
What, like when I'm not getting something
Yeah,
done.
like when you're not getting something artistic.
You know, it's really crazy, man. Like I feel like everybody has their own like workflow. Like I don't know why somebody told me this, and then I like one day, I don't know if it's true or not. I think people just talking. If it's true, it will make sense. I will get it though. That supposedly this guy, this is the Italian singer, the one who's blind. I think he's Andrea.
Pavarotti?
No. Pavarotti died. Andrea Bocelli, I think that's his last name.
Bocelli.
Bocelli, right? All right. Supposedly, every time before a concert, he needs to get a blowjob. Well,
that sounds good. Sounds like great.
Yeah, like if you think about it, like let's say that every time before a concert he gets anxious, and the only way for him to release that anxiety is through ejaculating, right?
Well, not ejaculating, because ejaculating is a different thing. Like if a blowjob is actually a different thing too. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so you know, so
you have somebody else.
So sexual interaction. So as an artist, he's not wrong. He's just, you know, like I don't know what his intentions are, or he's just, you know, he just wants to get a blowjob, you know. But if it's something he needs,
I think there's something.
Let's say that he publicly said like, "Oh, what do you do to prepare?" Like, "Oh, I got a blowjob," you know, and then people were like, you know, a lot of people will probably be, you know, judging. But then I'm like, that's his thing, you know. Like if he actually needs that, there's nothing wrong with that, you know. Like it's not like legal, you know, unless it's not consensual. I hope it's consensual.
Of course.
But you know, if that's what you need, you're doing, bro. Like that's a fluffer right there, you know, doing their job, you know, fluffing duty. The whole point is that, so he
I mean, that's his thing.
That's his thing, right? That's his thing. So I feel like we all have our thing. All right. Now my thing is crazy. It's not a blowjob, just in case you're wondering. But my thing is that I like it comes in the moment, right? So if you tell me, remember when we did the third episode, and we had to go back and forth. And the ideal before that, you had said, let's write it together. And then I think we tried that. And then I told you, it's better if you write it. I write the other one, and we start changing ideas. And the reason is because I cannot come out with something in the spot. For me, it needs to be a specific moment and on a specific timing in my life or in the day. I do it. And this is the problem with me. Once I start, I cannot stop. And not because it's gonna go away, it's because my mind will just be so focused on that, and it's gonna be like so focused on that it's gonna create like a kind of like an OCD where I'm not gonna be able to get anything done. At all. And the problem with that is that's when procrastination kicks in, because my mind is so put into one, and then you know we have to do two, and then I'm like, oh, I cannot get through 2 or 5 until I finish one.
Yeah, I mean, see, that's interesting. That's a similar thing with me. For me, it's like I don't want. It's not that I don't want anyone to take me away from what I'm doing, because I like to have distractions while I'm writing. Like I like to be able to have, like, even if it's just the TV on mute. You know what I'm saying? Just so that I can have something like. But if it's like the kids or like my wife or something that requires me to like step outside of the world, that's when it becomes like troublesome for me. But I've gotten pretty good at just like creating anywhere. Like, so if something strikes, whether if it's I'm voice recording it or writing, you know what I'm saying? Or writing it like on the phone or something. Like if I just take those 10 minutes to just get the thought out, you know what I'm saying? Just to get the thought out, because if I don't get the thought out, I won't be able to recall it when everyone's asleep, because that's really when I do my best like work, when everybody's asleep. So that I can like just do, like, you know, that's why I try to put the baby to bed at like 7, so that like I can have time to spend with my wife. And then once everybody's asleep, from 12 to like 5 in the morning, I'm just like there cranking it out. But sometimes, you know, it's tough, like, because sometimes it's like you stay up that long, and then the next day you're kind of droggy, right? So you gotta like, it's kind of, I guess it's kind of, I have to treat it more like I don't have a system yet, and I'm trying to figure that out. I have to treat it more like how people work out. Like sometimes people work out 2 times a day and then they have a rest day, right?
Yeah.
Uh, right. That's a thing, right? You train people, so you recommend rest days, right?
No, yeah, definitely, yeah. Yeah.
Because you need the muscles to because if like the muscles need to regroup, right? They need to.
Yeah, they break down and they need to like regenerate again, so they can build up or just get more tone.
Because
So
if not,
that usually happens on the rest day, you know.
Because if not, you plateau, right? Like
yeah,
so,
basically.
So I'm realizing that I need to structure that. I haven't figured out the structure very well yet. I've never been in a position where I have to set up the structure. Usually, I have a job, so like I'll leave at a certain time in the day, come back a certain time, deal with that, and then I have like a certain time that I have to, right? But my schedule's never been up to me like how it is now. So now that my schedule's up to me, I have to figure out like those blocks of times and when to, when to go in and handle that poop, take that poop, right? But um I struggle with sometimes letting the procrastination, like not differentiating from procrastination to I just don't have time to get to it right now. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there is those moments. Because there's moments where I do have time to get to it, and I crank out 3, 4, 5 pages, but I just like sometimes I just don't have the time. So it's tough to like figure out how to internalize so that I'm not putting myself down. You get what I'm saying?
I get you. Like, for example, like what you mentioned before about the idea, that is true. Anytime, any moment, any place with anything on hand, you could pop out an idea. Now, for you to develop that idea, to break it down, to do all the work that needs to be done to make it more concrete, or more in shape, more solid. Okay, you need a process, and anything that interrupts that process within the day, you're not gonna have time for it. So you might as well just bail out from it. I completely agree. Like, I don't know if you agree with me. Editing is both. Uh, um, how would you say that? Editing is both. I don't know how you say that, like creative work, but it's also very technical, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes, depending on what you're doing, it takes more creative than technical. Like a lot of times, let's say for example, you're editing something that you don't have a script, so you have to build a script with editing. That will take in place a lot of creative use, like a lot of creative work, right?
But there's also a lot of technical you have to put into it, because if you don't organize, you can't, like for me, right? Like for me,
so it's crazy. You will first want to see what you have. So that's like the technical aspect of it. So you see what you have, you organize this. All right. So once you see the big picture, you're like, okay, now let's put the creative aspect. This, and here. Okay. Then you go back to the technical when you start cutting, and then so on forth. So that's what's happening to me with the zombie show, and it's something very peculiar, right? So I know it's a creative process. So I'm treating it like, because it's all disorganized. So I'm treating it like I'm writing something. I'm writing a script, a novel, whatever. So I'm treating it that way. So I need to put my process, my timing, everything according to it. Sometimes I'm breaking it down, I organize it, and the next day I'm pooping or anything else that I'm doing, and I was like, oh, this is how I'm gonna do this. So I get real quick, and then I even like write down my notes on how I'm gonna edit it to get the script going, the script flowing, right? So So what's the problem with this is that since it's a creative work and it goes like into writing something else, and it is time. Let's say I have the podcast, for example, that I have to edit. Bro, my brain, like since I'm working like on this specific thing, and I know how much time I need it, I need it so much how much time I need in it, I won't be able to edit the other one. So my brain tells me, the zombie show, focus on on the podcast, and then you won't be able to do anything else. And it doesn't let me work. Like I'll be sitting in the computer and I was like, I can't work. I can't. It's blocking me out completely. And then you start procrastinating, thinking that it's gonna help you, right? Like so you start watching TV, playing video games, and then what happens in the end, after almost 2 weeks of just procrastination, you turn off the project, you open up the other project or whatever else you need to do and finish first. You finish it and then you move on to the other one. And that's my life. That's my life.
I guess so. For you, it's like you have to finish what you start.
Yes.
You know what's funny is I think that's everybody, and I think there's people that like, for example, I think I have myself convinced that I don't, but I think that thing is a plague, bro. Like not finishing what you start is like a very big plague because what happens is you end up with a bunch of undone things, and then you don't have it.
Exactly. That's the first time you told me that we were gonna do this, and you told me let's do a bunch of episodes and then we'll start editing. I was scared because like, oh my god, I want to turn into this. You know, I really don't. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, definitely around that time, it was a little bit like I didn't have my workstation set up. So for me, like if I like now that I have the workstation set up, like it's like I can do that. I can, have it built in a can, whatever, and but I think growing up and maturing, having kids, it's really taught me the importance of like, oh, you really do have to finish what you
finish everything. That's what I tell my wife.
Yeah, because if you don't, you're just like, bro, like as from experience for me, like I think it's a plague, and I think for a while I had it, and don't get me wrong, I'm still working through it, And
no, I agree with you, man. I agree with you. Look, for example,
Necromall. That's the name of the show, right? The zombie show. I shot that. Before Ella was born. So I shot that in 2018. 2019, right? No, actually, my bad. I finished shooting in 2019. Ella was born in August. I did it. All right. I told myself I just need to finish it, recording it before I can start editing. So it was like almost a year of us recording episodes, and we never finished it. I never edited once. But I always said, I need to finish recording this. I need to finish all the episodes for me to shoot this. What happened?
You didn't even organize though, like along the way?
I did, but it was lost in translation. This was like a long time ago. You forget. So we recorded, so my girl was born. That took like 6 months for me. I had to get a job. That took another 6 months, like another job besides what I was doing. The pandemic struck. That took a whole year. So it took me a while to get back in it. So you see me last year since I started on it. And that's when I told myself, like, already we took it. So I was like, I need to finish this. And then my wife constantly says, like, why do you need to finish it? You're not going to do anything with it. I'm like, first, you don't know that. Second, I need to finish it because it's content. It's content that I'm going to have. It's going to have my name and everybody who has credit on it. And it's going to be a fully finished work. It's probably crap for you, but it's finished work, And that's what I'm doing it. Like I'm almost done with it. I'm halfway in the pool.
Well, I think you don't never know. Like I think for everybody else, it's just tough to understand. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's just you're talking in another language, to other people. And I think that I've just born to accept it and not like expect that they're going to understand. But I'm just letting them know, no, this is what I have to do, right? But I think it's extremely important to implement that, right? Like to implement finishing it, because I feel like it's kind of stops you from getting ahead, like which is kind of what you're saying in your case. Like how your brain works is that it just doesn't let you move on to the next thing until this is done, right? And for me, it's kind of like that. Like I even notice it when I clean, right? Like when I'm cleaning the house, like I can't, like I clean in areas, so it's like I'll do. Like I have to, before I do the floors, I have to organize everything else, because if there's any dirt that falls on the floor, I don't want to have to like do that again. So I have to first organize, and then after that, then I have to wipe counters and everything, because if there's any dirt on the counters, I'd rather them fall on the floor, on a dirty floor, than on a clean floor. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like, it's a process to it. And I think through life, you find that process, you find that balance. But it's just interesting that it takes a while, bro. It just takes a while to find that structure. For some people, it comes easier. For some people, it doesn't. And I think we're very similar in that regard. I don't know if it's a Latin thing or not. I feel like maybe other cultures seems like they can just compartmentalize a lot better. Like I don't know.
I mean, a lot of times these issues, this kind of issues, is culture. It's true. You know, like
Yeah,
I think
I
it's
mean,
very
it's all
normal.
it's cultures. I think it's culture. I think it's like it's a lot of different things, right? But I think with us, I think with Latin people, I see that sometimes that it's we can be a little scattered. Some of us can be a little scattered. I mean, I've seen even the ones of us that are not scattered are still scattered, if that makes any sense. Even the ones
Yeah,
that I've met that are like very sort of like almost arithmetic, they're very logical and to the point. They still have a lot of things, different things going on. It's like our food. It looks like our food. I've always
yeah,
compared that to it. There's like our food. If you look at a place of like Latin food, it's just like arroz con pollo, and it just looks like crazy. It's just, like
yeah,
there's no. It's not like an Asian, like a Japanese dish where it's like you can like it looks pretty. You know,
yeah.
aesthetic.
Yeah, that is true. No, I agree with you.
Now I don't know
Like
why
I look at
you
it,
do it.
I look at it like the vegetables. Like, like for example, my brother was here last year, and he had to look. He had to go back. He hasn't been here like for like almost 5 to 6 years. He came back, and then like he's not used to it. Like over there in the States, everybody talks about organic, free range and stuff like that. And in the end, they think they're getting the real deal. And, like I told him, I know because, it hasn't been long since I've been there. And I told him, like, you have to really try or understand when something is actually really, really organic. And when something is really organic, when, like, for example, when an egg is free range, when something is 100% natural, like they say, it's not pretty. It's not pretty because nature is not pretty. Nature is messy. That's what it is. Nature is messy. So on the outside, it's gonna look like. Now, where you're really gonna get, where it pays off when you eat shit and it tastes like in heaven. And that's what it is, bro.
Yeah.
What it is like, like I always give him the example of the banana, man. Like the first time I ate, living over here for so long, the first time I went to the States and I bought a banana, I think it was a Walmart. I was at Jeremy's house and I ate my first banana. I was like, holy shit, it tastes like plastic. You guys are eating plastic. you guys, like, I thought it was bullshit. I thought it was.
I thought it because during the pandemic I had went to Colombia to help out. I don't know how much I could say that there's like an NDA that I signed. So I helped out on this project in Colombia, right, for like a couple
I
months.
remember you told me about that. We talked a lot of time.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know how much I can talk about it live, but whatever.
How about this? How about this? Next episode.
Next time, yeah. No, but I remember I love milk, right? I love whole milk. I have a real issue drinking whole milk in the States because my farts are horrible after I drink. Like I don't know if I'm lactose intolerant or not, but it's super weird. But in Colombia, dude, I was able to drink milk left and right, and I didn't feel like there was no issue. There was no issue with my stomach whatsoever. And I don't know if it has anything to do with how much processing the food gets done through here. Because even if we say it's organic out here, we don't really know what process they put it through. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. People are a little delusional here in the States. They believe
That's
they got that
crazy.
they got that pride. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. So my brother, he came over here and then he started eating all this stuff, and I was really like interested in what he would say. Like all right, got it. ¿Aló? Sí, lo estoy viendo ahorita, pero estoy en una reunión y no. Pero ya vamos para allá. Dame 10 minutos, estoy terminando y vamos para allá. ¿Te parece? Dale. Poop, man, poop everywhere. You see? You should leave it out to come up with my point. So you actually
this episode is called Poop. That's what we're gonna call it. No,
the different kind of poops.
You were interested. You were saying that you were interested in what he was saying.
I was interested in his reaction, and like one of the things that interests me the most, like, okay, so Tony does CrossFit. He's a huge CrossFit fan in the whole CrossFit community. He's a CrossFit, he's an athlete, right? So they usually, he has his process and stuff like that. One of the things he likes doing is that in the morning he likes drinking coffee, and he also likes drinking coconut water. I don't remember if it's pre or post workout, but he drinks coconut water. And usually he buys this coconut water, which is like fully organic and stuff like that, and whatever. And I drank it, and that was over there in LA. I drank it, I liked it. I thought it was okay, but I was like, wow, like now I can see the difference,
Okay.
And I wanted him to taste it. Really, the first thing I did is that when we were going back on the road, I stopped. I literally stopped, and then it was a hassle because nobody had changed. And there was 2 guys selling coconut water. And I'm like, I need to try this coconut water, And he tried it, man. He tried it, and his reaction was just like, "Oh, that's what coconut water tastes like." I was like, "Yeah,
yeah, dude.
Yeah, man. It's a different taste, completely different, and it's gonna be okay that it's different because not every fruit is always gonna taste 100% the same because it's born into a different climate and a different ecosystem, right? Not even climate, a different ecosystem. And the thing is that you can tell right out of the bat when something is not 100% natural. But you can only tell that if you've been basically in a third world, in a third world country, Let's just put it this way.
I don't think it's just that. Like, for example, if you I think that one of the things Americans, even myself, I should probably start practicing is like not having like sugar for at least a month and a half, right? Which is very hard to do. Very hard to do to not have processed sugar at all. But if you do, I think everything else tastes like better.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just don't know if we know what things truly taste like because of how much processed food we really ingest here in the States. And it is what it is. I mean, it is what it is. I don't think it's just limited to third world country, right? I don't think it's like limited to that. And Venezuela's not a third world country. Relax.
Worse.
It's not. Relax.
It's worse.
You think so, dude?
No, it is. It is. It's actually worse. Really? Yeah, it was. I think it was last year that they actually proclaimed it the worst thing that comes after that. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Hell, I guess. I don't know.
Are you serious?
Yeah, man. Venezuela's. Yeah, I don't know what purgatory. I don't know. It's worse than third world country. Like undeveloped.
No, when I think of third world country, dude, I think of like San Andres, dude. Like I think of like an island that doesn't, you know what I'm saying? That's not
no. Like Colombia until like recently was a developing country. Let's see, what is Venezuela? Third world country. Let's see, Venezuela is a developing. Oh, what are you talking about? This so supposedly we're a developing country and ranks 113 Human Developing Index. It has the worst largest known oil rate. Yeah, but this has to be old as.
You're like, yeah, developing my.
Yeah, you guys.
But yo, I mean, look, to kind of.
I'm pissed at Google. I'm so pissed at Google now.
So, how do you decipher if you're being lazy or not with all this stuff that you're doing?
Well, in my case, and I think you kind of mentioned something about that, like right now that you have kids, you realize that. But I think it's beyond also kids. I think it's already being an experienced writer because we have written so much in our entire lives that we have done. That's awful. That's good. That at one point you realize, like I told you, like I already realized my recipe because I already know my recipe because I realized all the mistakes I used to make. So me procrastinating wasn't a point of laziness. It was a point that my brain could not focus on that because it needed to finish something else. Probably work related or anything else, but not that. So once I understood that I wasn't lazy. I just wasn't focusing on the right thing. And I needed to stop as much as I wanted to do. I need to stop that and work on plan 2, 3, and 4 before I can go back to plan 1. All right? And that's my thing. It's
okay, so for you, it's just a matter of compartmentalizing and making sure that it's like, okay, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and then you're not. Okay, so I think it's just a matter of how you internalize. Like for me, I internalize it as like, if I'm not getting this done, then that means I'm lazy, which is a bad habit. It's really a bad habit because what happens is it creates like negative emotions and then you get down and then you don't want to do anything. You know what I'm saying? And you start believing that story. You know what I'm saying? You start believing that thing yourself. So I think, I think that's important.
The way I feel like, bro, work and life are just obviously is, work life, home life, hobbies, everything is just so intertwined And as much as we want to take priority in one, there's always something else that, at least as an artist, you're not going to be able to do, even if it's priority. And then that's what's happening to me. But I'm realizing along the way, and I'm like, even if this is priority, I gotta understand that I have to stop it because it's not gonna come out as good, or it's just gonna take me too long. It's gonna drag out too much.
I think that's part of the sacrifice, right? So it's part of the sacrifice. Like sometimes, I'm sure that when you're growing when you're doing your grapes for your wine, you notice that there's some fruits that just don't make it. You know what I'm saying? Right? They just don't make it. So it's just a matter of like, I think as we mature, we understand, okay, that's going to have to get sacrificed for this moment. That's going to have to get sacrificed for this moment. And sometimes it works better, bro, because like, I think, for example, even now, like, I feel like it has matured so much to the point where we're starting to see how similar, like we wrote this years ago, dude. We had no idea that any of the elements that we wrote years ago would be relevant now. Right. And if you notice, it's so relevant that it's like, I almost feel like
it needs to come out right now.
Like, yeah, I almost feel like, are we not taking advantage? But it's like, no, that's not how it works. Like, it's okay. Like, it's going to that feeling is always that's just an anxious feeling. That's always going to be there. That's just another poop. You know what I'm saying? That I got to go to the bathroom and take. But at the end of the day, when the time is right, the time will be right. And I think that, it's just a matter of understanding that that's just part of the sacrifice. That's part of the sacrifice, and but as an artist, I don't think we like to sacrifice things because we feel like we just want to get everything done in that moment because it's going to go away like inspiration or something.
No, but it's our job. It's our job to do it, and I think also being a dad has helped us to understand a little bit more of that.
All right, bro. I mean, let's wrap this up. I gotta get back to poop. I gotta go back to pooping.
Right. Me too. A bunch of
all right. So let's actually like get this one done better this time, like than last time.
I'll do this.
All right, 1,
I'm gonna flip. 2, 3. House of
Uno. Wait, dude, you're doing it wrong again.
Why?
You have to go. It's like this. No, it's you're going. You have to end like this. Because remember, you're the one.
Really? All right. Never mind. Sorry.
So
1,
House of
2,
Uno.
House of Uno. All right, lower it a little bit so it's in the center of the.
God damn it! All right, I don't know which camera. I have a bunch of cameras. All right.
All right, put out the other one. The main one. The main one.
This is the main one. This is the main one right now. Trust me, it's only main one.
2, House of Uno.
House of Uno.
All right, bro.
All right, man. We'll talk later, okay?